Your
Trading.
audio is a little fuzzy to me.
What's a little fuzzy?
I don't know about the other guys.
What's I'm hearing pretty good. Can you guys hear me all
Um,
right?
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
hear you all right. Maybe it's just my headset.
Carvana, okay, okay.
Yeah, doing well.
Um, well, okay. Well, I apologize. I think it could have just been, again, maybe the internet just being so overwhelmed and the bandwidth being used or what have you is probably what I'm guessing. I'm just going to see if we're on Facebook running live, and we are. All right. Well, anyway, one of you guys officially welcome you guys. We'll just wait till Marvin gets back.
Cool, cool.
And we'll get rocking and rolling.
I like
See,
your I like your sword collection right there at your back.
yeah, I figured it adds a nice little, little feature to it. Whoever's watching, they can see in the background the Mindanao weapons and the sword. Yeah.
Especially
Is that
with the
better,
fruit.
Marvin? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, at any rate, I don't know if that. Hopefully, that didn't screw up a bunch of people. But at any rate, I want to officially welcome you guys to FMA discussion number 27, where we're going to feature AK USA Part 1, Abenir Kalis, for those who don't know what the abbreviation means. So with that being, I guess what we'll do is, for those who are watching and will watch, let's get some official introductions. So we'll start from out west and we'll work back. So we got Con Von Bautista, represents California. We got Conjo Gorre, who represents Las Vegas. And then we have Kyle Marvin, our leader, who is in Chicago. And then me in Connecticut. So, how's it, before we get into there, how's everybody doing with the situation as far as like getting any training in or?
Well, no,
Here and there, you know.
Here and there. How about
Right?
you,
Yeah.
Kavan?
no training. It's just really. I have a Century Bob XL here, so just hitting that guy instead of other people.
Yeah, I tell
No
you,
training on my end. I'm just gaining pounds.
yeah.
Weightlifting.
Well, that is training, Kyle Marvin.
Yeah.
Yeah, during off season, Filipino
All right,
martial
we
arts
got
is
Kyle
all about
Bradley and Ferg
drinking and
watching.
eating.
Hey, Ferg.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, it's funny. I'm still doing it actually, but I've never done so much solo training. Yeah, you know what I mean? But just doing something, you know what I mean? But the Bob works great, swinging away. I mean, just, a little of everything, So what I'm going to do is I got a bunch of questions, but what I thought I would do is I would alternate the order. So just we don't constantly starting with one person. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. So let's just, I know before we all started Abenir Kalis, I think for the most part we all did something before that FMA regarding. So I wanted to start with Kavan. What was your first FMA experience?
I primarily started with Yaoyan. It's short for Sayaw ng Kamatayan. When you translate it to English, it is literally called Dance of Death. So it's a primarily an empty hand form of Filipino martial arts. So that's where I originally
Oh,
started.
okay, okay. Oh, neat. That sounds interesting. And all right, Joe, how about yourself? Would you do anything before AK?
Yeah. So I grew up with my grandparents. So my first exposure to FMA was just my lolo or my grandfather, just occasionally swinging around anything he could. Typically a cane. And one of my uncles out in the Bay, and one of my uncles out here in Vegas. they would show me things like like Heaven Six Sinawali or Hubod. But I didn't become a formal FMA student until 2014, and I started learning modern Arnis concepts with the knife. My teacher was a
Okay.
student of Bram Frank. Yeah,
Oh, Branford. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Well, and Con Marvin was what was before AK?
Oh, was that for me? I'm sorry, my my all is fuzzy. So
No, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
background
Yes,
wise,
like
I started FMA very late, 2011.
and what was your first
I've always been in
experience?
martial arts since I was in grade school, but started formally back in '98. Mostly other martial arts, anything else but FMA. I did judo, I did aikido, I did submission grappling. I got introduced to FMA 2011 under Guru Romel Ramirez,
Oh, so you want so your
who
first was
practically helped Master Bong develop AK in its infancy.
so you didn't have a previous experience before Abenir Kalis then. You just jumped right into AK.
Yeah, I've only studied AK. Never
Oh,
had any
okay,
other
That's
okay.
awesome.
FMA. Never had any other, because to be honest, when I was studying martial arts back then, I liked the empty hand side, and I honestly never had any interest in FMA until I touched base again with Kyle Romero Ramirez, and then he showed me, hey, I got something new for you to show. It's FMA. Then he showed me AK, and I loved it instantly. So
Ah.
my only base FMA wise is just AK.
Wow. Okay. There was some reason, and obviously I'm mistaken. I thought there was another system that was before that. But wow. Okay. That's new. All right. Um, okay. So we're just going to jump right into it, right in there, right into Abenir Kalis. I just well, for each of you, how did it? Okay. So I guess let's start with Kavan, or actually no, Kajo. Um, when did it start for you for AK? Like, I mean, what year? What was the introduction, and who?
So my introduction to AK was I reached out to my teacher at the time, Mark Crumpton. I was learning in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I had gotten a scholarship to study in the Philippines for about a year. Um, and I was like, hey, coach, who should I train with? I'm going to the motherland, and so he showed me a couple different masters and groups, and I actually thought I was gonna get down and be training with some more of the more tactical guys. That was kind of my interest at the time. But it just so happened, I Maestro Bong was one of the masters that my teacher had shown to me, and upon reaching out to all these different masters, Maestro Bong just kind of had the coolest vibe. So the first exposure I had, there was a joint seminar with AK, uh, RRK, and Cali de Leon. They were doing like a fundraiser for um, some of these masters who were, one of them, there was like some tragedy had hit them. So it was a few groups coming together to,
Oh, okay, for fundraising.
yeah, it was called Mandarigma Methodologies. And
Mm.
from then, I just kind of gravitated towards Maestro Bong because I didn't just respect him as a martial artist, but I liked him as a guy, man. Cool, laid back, um, very upfront and honest, and yeah, I just liked his style.
Yeah, no, no, I can. It's weird you mention that because it's almost like something for me being afar before I got to meet Con Marvin. It's like, and I can't really explain it, articulate it, but those were qualities like I saw from afar from him. So I mean, they go, so there's something. So Kavan, um, so I know you moved here 2006, but what about far as your initial beginnings as far as AK?
So I guess I have to tell you a little bit of history in addition to my Yaoyan training. So I started when I think I was 6 or years old when I moved to. I did Sikaran. It's an old school form of Filipino Taekwondo, which originated in Baras, Rizal.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've been there for several years. My parents enrolled me in those classes in our local municipality. After those, on my first year in high school, I had a I attended a demo for Yaoyan, and that got me interested. So that was year 1993 when I started to join Yaoyan, but I did not officially join the club or the membership until 2004. With Yaoyan, we do not have
Okay.
monthly memberships or monthly tuition back in the day, but it's a lifetime membership. So the upfront costs are really expensive at the time, and we grew up not having too much luxuries in life back in the Philippines. So it's something that I had to save up for till I finally was able to join officially in 2004. So through those
Okay.
connections, yeah, through those connections, I was able to join other groups as well. So I did Buno grappling in the Philippines, and also my first weapons experience was actually as Ka, Joe has mentioned earlier, Cali de Leon. So I've trained with Guru Roland Isla, with Isla Mandirigma Cali. They're the Philippine based team for Cali de Leon. So I've been with them for 2 years, 2004 and 2005, until and 2006 summer, until I have to move here to the US. So it's a very interesting
Okay.
story. So I was promoting Yao Yan all throughout. When I got here, I've been teaching, doing seminars. And on one of my seminars, I had one of the AK representatives at that time, which is Kajaps. And my teacher,
Kaja. Yep. Yep.
my teacher, Guru Roland Isla, saw a picture of us in Facebook and said, "Oh, so you guys finally met each other. Why don't you guys train?" So I talked to Guru Bong, I talked to Guru Roland, said, "Hey, if we're going to do this, I'd like to make it official. Is it okay for both your ends, right? You know, with FMA, there's too much politics going on. I want to make sure that each side
Mm,
is okay with the other." And it
yep.
turns out it, it turns out they're really good friends. I mean, I've known Guru Roland. He's a very cool guy as well. Very, very good person. And I'm so lucky that Guru Bong also shares the same personality. So they click together. And so what we did, this was somewhere late 2007, early 2008. And then
Okay.
Kajaps and I fused our Mayao and his AK together. It kind of clicked easily for me because with Guru Bong's background, he had Silat, he had Yaoyan, and then he had Tatang's
The sea line. Yeah. Yeah.
Illustrissimo. So I had one of the three already. So it kind of
Oh, right.
fused
One of the
easily.
pieces. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yes, so that's why it felt so natural, and I just actually gravitated towards AK after that. So Guru Bong asked me to become a representative of California when I went back home to the Philippines, and so I asked both of them, Guru Bong and Guru Roland, if they're okay with that terms, and they both gave me that blessing. So that's how it all started.
Ah. Oh, that is a neat story. Oh, wow. See, you learned something. Wow, I would have never known that have I never got you on here. Wow. And well, my yeah, I'll just quickly. My first was basically I was seeing Maestro on Facebook, and I just absolutely loved what I was seeing, but I just had no idea who was here and all that. And so finally, after watching for a few months and just really admiring him and what he was doing and the way he was going about doing it, I finally messaged him. And long story short, he referred me to Marvin, and Marvin felt me out. I think it was like a good month before he took me. And then he finally Marvin finally realized I was serious and was not going to be denied. And then I went to yeah, and then I went to Chicago, and who we lose? Oh, and that's kind of how it started. But we lost Kavan, but I'm sure he's gonna jump back on because he was the first one on here. So
Mm.
all right, well, hopefully he will. Um, so yeah, that was year 2000 and gosh, come on, what 15? He's coming back. Was that 2015? About?
I'm back.
Yeah. We figured we lost you. 2015 and 2016,
I think
correct?
so. Yeah.
Yeah. It had to be one of the two. Matter of
Yeah.
fact,
2015 or 2014. Late 2014.
yeah, I know it was. So it's obviously been wonderful ever since then. How just for all of you, we'll go quick. We'll start with Marvin. What was your after you were introduced to the system and Maestro? What was your initial attraction to the style? We got a gap in time here. Marvin, did you get me on that one? So Marvin, what was your initial attraction to the style when you first joined? Do you hear me? I don't think he's hearing me. Let's start with you, Kajo.
So the funny thing about that question is so my initial attraction was I actually wasn't attracted to the style, to be completely honest. Um,
No, that's
right?
good. That's what we
And
want.
um and I say that in that maybe I wasn't not maybe, like I don't think I was mature enough maybe as a martial artist um to truly appreciate kind of the approaches of AK. But
Yeah.
again, I just Maestro being a cool guy, and along with Maestro, the first brothers I met within the system was Ka Jong Rivero and Ka Grim, and then later Ka Japs. So they were just a cool group of guys to learn from. And I say I wasn't initially attracted to it because before my FMA training, I grew up doing traditional Chinese kung fu, and I was doing a lot of form based training. And then my later on or my prior FMA training, a lot of it was drill based. So I was kind
Mm,
of in my comfort zone of like forms and drills. And then you have Maestro Bong, who is like, in AK, we don't really do forms or drills.
oh, that's
And I
right.
was like,
Yeah.
oh man, but I
Here,
wanted to,
I'm telling you.
so I wanted to learn and I wanted to be respectful and I got respectfully black and blue, my arms, my fingers, and just kind of the sincerity of the brothers teaching me, like and because again I was going back home to the Philippines as a Filipino American to learn my heritage and connect, and so these were my big brothers showing me like yo like this is it. This is FMA. This is the root, the heart of it. And so I learned how to appreciate kind of the practicality of FMA. Like it really must be useful. Otherwise, at least in AK, like it really must be
Yeah.
useful. Otherwise, why are we doing it? And so um, as time went on, kind of I felt like I was learning a little bit about Philippine history as well as kind of how to mature as a martial artist. And so it was something that it wasn't like, wow, I really want to learn this. It was like, oh man, like, damn it, I'm going to get hit again, like again.
Yeah,
Uh,
see, that's what attracted me is like, they're actually doing it. Like, I mean, because I was, I experienced the drill, and not, not that drills are not important. I
oh,
don't
yeah,
want to
yeah,
get construed that I'm not saying drill, but I like the mores that develop attribute development, where like you're actually, you know, there's not so much accountability, but you're actually trying to hit the person. I'm not saying it needs to be full blown out right from the beginning, but
yeah. Hmm.
there's they're actually trying to counter what you're doing or trying to stop you what you're doing.
I think to put it
So
in
that was the
simple
attraction for
words,
me.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
to put it in
that was,
simple words, yeah, it's a different heightened senses, you know.
Agreed.
yeah, I know. How about you, Kyle Marvin? What'd you think initially?
Oh well, before I entered the AK, my background was all empty-handed, and I was really into submission grappling at the time and Aikido. Caramel and me has a very long history. Actually, he was my Aikido buddy.
Ah, okay.
We trained together for nearly a decade before he left, and he concentrated more with AK. And I didn't know he was doing that until 2011. He got in touch with me again. He go, "Hey, I want to show you something." So I go, "Sure." And the first thing he did was like straight out blast with the stick heavy on me, and it was just like first day. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing, and I felt awkward, and he just like, and I fell in love with it right away. Because I've met a few FMA teachers when I was doing submission grappling and Aikido, and I didn't like it. I never
Mm.
liked it. I met
That's
Caram-
so wow.
I met Caramel, and I'm like, dude, what's the name of the style? And then he goes, at the time it was known as Abenir Kali. He said, for now we name it Abenir Kali. And so I go, can I meet your master at some point? And he goes, yeah, sure. So after like 6 months training on and off with Caramel, he brought me to the gym. That's in Don Bosco. It's a university back home in the Philippines where Master Bong used to teach.
Okay.
And the first session was like, it was fine. Immediately, no, there's no like easing into it. Like, okay, your first day guy, you're gonna spar next time. No. When it's time for sparring, Master Bong called me up, called another guy, you get a stick or get a knife, have at it.
Yep.
And the
Yeah. See, that.
very
Yeah.
first day of my session, I actually sparred with Master Bong.
Oh,
My very first day, Master Bong
how did that
picks
go?
me. It didn't go well for me because he picked me up in the line. He goes, "You got a long experience in so and so martial arts, right?" And I go, "Yeah, a little bit." And then he immediately does this, come up, and I'm like, "Okay." So I
Yeah.
come up. We kind of like felt each other. It's kind of like an empty hand sparring. We got in the clinch. The last thing I remember was I was looking up the ceiling. He did he did like a quick silat sweep that I wasn't expecting. My
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest break fall I ever did.
Well, thank God you knew how to break fall.
Yeah, it's a good thing I know how to break fall. It's like it was
Yeah.
straight down. I
Yeah.
crashed
Yeah.
into
Because
the mat. My first day, and I was hooked.
yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Like here it is. Like some of you guys, like Joe was referencing. The little. Just not really ready to jump in. Maybe some adversity and all that, and then you do it, and all of a sudden, like comes around full circle where you're like, you can't wait. You can't wait for the next class or what have
Mm-hmm.
you. Something that you're like, oh, I don't want any part of that. And then you feel it or experience it, and then like you guys alluded to, you get kind of hooked. How about you, Kavan? What was the initial attraction for you? Your first.
Um, I suck at drills, and given that
That's
AK
good.
doesn't
Yo,
have
my
drills,
God, so do I. I
I'm so
can't.
I'm so bad with memorization. So it's
Yeah.
more
Oh my
what
God,
I'm
I'm the only one.
So what I found out was that this is more of instinct, more of reaction. The fraction. So you go through it. You have to know your inserts, and that just worked for me.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like I remember when I was doing the ensemble blend, and I remember that, and we would be doing vibrato, and I'd be going off of my own. And I was, it's funny. I have a funny story about that. I was telling Burton that I'm like, yeah, I'm like, gosh, I couldn't even stick with the simple drill. I would start going off in like random. And he goes, no, he goes, that's what eventually you really want. You just kind of jump the curve.
Mm.
He was probably just being nice.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed when I was doing AK. I was actually one thing that put me off traditional FMA back in the past was there's so much drilling, like so much pair drills. Not that it's bad, it's just that it just doesn't work for me.
Mm,
So when I did AK, I thought, okay, there's gonna be a lot of hubod or a lot of the tapping thing.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, we had two drills, hubod and something that we call cuadrucantos.
Oh, the
That
four
was
corners?
four corners, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was it. After that, it's all about. It's not drills. It's like being efficient in how you attack and defend.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You don't like. You don't need to be able to play with your hands so much. It's about being practiced well enough that when you hit with intention, and when you defend yourself, you defend yourself intelligently. You
Yeah.
don't have to know a lot of drills. You just need to protect yourself and attack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, no
that
argument here.
that Kamari, that reminds me of one of the very first times something really sunk into my head. Um, during my initial trainings with Maestro Bong, was he spent so much time just doing a regular, like derecho bagsak,
Yeah.
and I didn't even learn like 1 through 10 yet, right? We're just doing derecho bagsak, and he's
Mm-hmm.
saying, he was telling me like, hey, use your hip. It's all about the whole movement of your body. And what really stuck was he said, in AK, we don't slash, we cut. So when he
Mm-hmm.
was teaching me, he said, these are the cuts. And I was like, wow, like we don't slash. And he's like, the difference between a slash and a cut is a cut has a target, a cut has an intention. A slash is just kind of, you're
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
throwing it out there.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
So
maybe like a more random. He was meaning by the slash, as a cut is more
I think
specific.
I mean, just I mean, to me though, I think it's really all about intent. Like that's really like having a target. It relates to having a target. And also how you carry yourself. Um, so again, yeah, that was like big for me. I was like, whoa, I need to start rethinking because contrary to all you guys, man, I love drills. I actually pick up on them really well. So here I
Yeah.
am. I'm like, yeah, man, let's go. What do you want to do? Sabayan? You want to do hubo? You want whatever? Like, but when Maestro Bong was like, teaching me about Tatang and how Tatang was like, we're gonna break the numbers, and I was like, oh snap, like in my head I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. And then sparring, my seniors, sure enough, man, uh, my blue arm was like, look, man, you gotta adapt to this and learn.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what Cavon and Cap Joseph experience was back home because when I was training with the guys, I actually learned very few techniques.
Mm,
We would go to a session, maybe Master Bone would show maybe one, four techniques. That's it.
Hmm.
After the techniques, it's sparring time, and then you just spar more.
Right, and then you
yep.
refine, like no, but then you problem solve, like, hey, I'm constantly getting hit by arco or drop
Mm,
strike, whatever. And then you can
mm,
problem solve, and
yeah.
yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I tend to lean, but again, I have nothing against drills. To
Oh
me,
yeah.
it's like how many there are and how many vines off the
Mm,
branch where they start getting just, where you lose just essence of like
mm.
what you're
I
Yeah, I
about.
think
mean, yeah, drills are okay. I do jujitsu right now. When I'm not doing FMA, I'm doing Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And
Hmm.
Drills is key.
Yeah.
It develops
Drillers make
your
killers.
yes. It develops the muscle. Well, not really muscle memory, but that's the expression. But it develops some sort of memory for your body to do. I mean, it's the same thing with FMA. The thing is, you gotta be intelligent what drills to keep and what drills to discard.
Yeah, which are
Hmm.
yeah ones that are, especially if you're a functionalist, ones that gravitate towards enhancing, your functionality. In
Mm,
my opinion, that and all that. If that's your direction, functionality, which I think it's fair to say here because I mean Maestro and the system. One thing I want to do just for the viewers, because this is a question I've gotten a few times, and what is AK? Everybody that has FMA experience can see the Illustrissimo influence, clear and cut. You know what I mean? Especially with the sword and all that. However, but they also see the difference. So, Marvin, why don't you give us your initial, like a little brief, and then we'll go around. But like, what do you
mm.
think? What is AK?
That's actually a good question. When I first started with them, they were just starting out. So the motion, I can say honestly, when I watch Master Bong now, and I remember him when I started with them back in 2012, 2013. Back in 2012, 2013, yeah, the motion is very much illustrisimo. No doubt about it. Very much illustrisimo. You watch them now, I want to say it's much more polished. Because if you take a look at it, for me, AK, I don't want. FMA is really good, regardless of what style. I love all FMA styles. It's just a matter of kind of like what works for your body, what works for your
Yeah.
body type, what works for your temperament and attitude. So for me, AK matches. For me, the way I see it is that AK is, I want to say, the future of FMA because you have that tradition, but you don't overemphasize tradition because you learn martial arts to fight, to defend yourself. So with AK, Master Bong does not stick to what he teaches. To be honest, what he taught me in 2013 is not what he teaches now.
Yeah, it's definitely from you. I know it's changed. Like from
Yeah.
what you gave me to
Mm,
what's going on now is
yeah. So it's the future because it's
yeah,
like he's willing to leave what he did before to improve on it again, and then he'll leave that and improve on it again.
yeah,
I think for me, AK is the future of MMA because it never stops. It doesn't cling on to that 500-year-old tradition. It
yeah,
goes with the times.
yeah, evolution. How about you, Kavan? What do you think? What's for somebody who didn't understand what Abenir Kalis was? What could you tell them?
I guess AK is more of a when you study AK, you do not study the system, but more of you study on how you will move yourself from point A to point B, regardless of what's needed for you to go there. So AK has tools, all right. You will not be limited to say, okay, do only these types of strike. It's not limited to that because there's a lot more arsenal, like what Marvin have said, that see what works for you. We all have different body types. We all have different preferences. So uh, you go and explore what works for yourself, and you're not limited with that. On one of my conversations with Maestro Bong over beer and some barbecue, so what he said
Joke
was
left.
yeah, that's how FMA work, beer and barbecue. So what he told me was with AK, it's a system of multiple styles, multiple martial arts, and see what works. If somebody would look for learning empty hands or kickboxing, they will refer it to somebody in the group that knows a lot more than other groups, than other members. If you are looking to improve your grappling skills to be able for you to fight on the ground, then we have other members who are very proficient Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo as well. And
Oh,
that's,
like
for
COD
example,
30 and
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just echoing what Marvin have said, that it does not limit you to a certain curriculum. So it
Mm.
is more of what can you do for yourself to be able for you to survive. I mean, disregard all the fancy stuff, disregard all the beautiful names of techniques and all that stuff. Those are not necessary, but those are only secondary to what you need to learn in order for you to survive and defend yourself.
Mm, okay. And what about you, Kajo?
And to really just build on Ka Marvin and Ka Bon, just because I feel like we're all of the same, at least heart on this one. Um, there's a I don't know if there's a term we've used within the AK circle, and Calista Ilustrado, right? So translated to English would mean enlightened swordsman or enlightened bladesman, and I really think this is an important term for anyone who's a student of Maestro Bong, in that he teaches us way more, again, than just kind of a catalog of techniques. It's not like a how-to library
Mm.
or anything. And for me, I remember upon becoming an instructor in AK, Maestro Bong telling me that, hey, when you teach your students, you want them um, you want them to be able to defend themselves after, if not one or just a few sessions of training. So
Yep.
it's very honest. um, and I can reflect back to a lot of my sessions with Maestro Bong, and when I would have a fault or a failure, or just even a fear, right? I remember one session I told Maestro I'm scared of getting stabbed, and boy, um, that was a lot of bruises.
Then he stabs. Then he stabs you
All
more.
right, right.
He's like, you're afraid. All right, well, come over
Yeah,
here. We'll take
but
care.
Maestro has this really poetic way of saying, like he'll say, "Hilutin natin yan," right? So he'll say, "Let's massage that," right? So let's massage your fear out, or let's, um, I remember being so drill oriented or form based, I would have really wide strikes, and he would say,
Mm,
make it, when dealing with blades, cut the travel time, you know,
yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah,
and so that that would be kind of, I really like his approach to, like, hey, let's heal that, let's massage
yeah,
it out.
yeah. Like
you
yeah.
know
But what's interesting there is like not just saying, oh, hey, you need to fix that, but like, hey, let's us fix that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
being part of the solution. Um, that no, that's yeah. When people ask me, I basically this is why I tell them when people ask me, and I'm not saying I'm 100% correct in this, but basically I tell them like I kind of break it down. Like all the sword is from Kalis Electrissimo. Knife, a combination of that and that gentleman Young, the older
uh,
gentleman that he
Mang
kind of
Inyong.
yeah,
Mangyong, yeah.
what a
Yeah.
character he seemed like, and then the Ceylon. So
Mm.
I basically tell him it's kind of majority Illustrissimo, but then you have some percentages of the other two. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my answer to them. you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
but stressing that the sword is absolutely all from KI. The kicks, the catching, the empty hand, Ceylon, and the knife work seems to be kind of like a fusion of the two.
Yeah.
So is what when I interviewed Maestro some months back. That's kind of the gist. What he said. Um, okay, so what I want to get into next is um, Maestro. What again? We touched on this a little bit, but just about him and his qualities as a teacher. From afar, you know, again before I met Marvin, just watching him, a couple, interviews with him, short interviews. I just saw just this, um, an essence of just pure humility and just genuine. Like, and it didn't, it's like, and this is like, I'm watching here from the States, and I just felt and saw that from him, like just somebody really humble, and just really genuine. Somebody genuinely cared about what he's doing, what he's trying to instill in the students. I didn't see a sense of ego or self-promoting,
Yeah,
or
no.
I just saw somebody really genuine. And obviously, I want to let you guys, because you guys obviously met him. I'm hoping one day to absolutely, of course, meet him. But let's
Mm.
I tell you, let's piggyback around. Let's start with you, and then we'll work down the bond. So, Kajo, what it just whatever your whatever comes to your mind like that. Do you from him that really stood out as far as his personality, his teaching qualities, or and all that? Would you,
And I'm just gonna touch on maybe some personal encounters that you of things you have said. How he's very humble, and even just calling him a teacher. Because in FMA, right, there's guros and tuhons and specialists and whatever, but I don't know if they're really good teachers. And
yeah.
Maestro Bong, first and foremost, I mean, professionally he's a teacher, so maybe that's why he's really good. Um, but I feel like he really adjusts. You see the kind of scope of his students. He's got the Philippine Coast Guard and
Yeah.
very you know tactical oriented people. Also people who are if you look at his book, Eskrima Street Defense, it's kind of meant for an everyday person.
Mm.
Um, like he he'll adjust to his student, and I think that's amazing quality of a teacher. And let's see, he's a teacher, he's humble. I would even go so far as to call Maestro Bong a patriot. Like he's very proud of FMA, not just in the movements or the utility of it, but where it comes from. He gives the right props to his teachers and where it's
Oh
come
yeah.
from, and even you see Maestro as a writer. Just read some of his posts or anything,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's a
Yeah.
sharp guy.
Oh yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
So yeah,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
No, it's a good answer. What
yeah.
Kavan, what say you?
What I admire a lot about him is his respect for other people's time. So on several of our conversations, I did ask him. So, Sir Bong, I call him Sir Bong. Um, how do you want me to teach your curriculum? Do you want me to go from point A to point B to from for example sword to knife, empty hands, double sword? Uh, so what he said was, don't waste time of your students. Like just echoing what Kajo have mentioned earlier, make sure on your first meeting they've already taken something along with them, because you
Oh,
never
okay. Yeah.
you never know when you will meet them again, and
Mm.
what you have
Mm.
imparted to them, they might have something that may be useful to save their lives. Because in contrast to other groups, to other styles, they would extend you on a month-to-month tuition, month-to-month basis, and you will only learn this much, right? So
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
with Sir Bong, I respect. I really like his respect for other people's time. He values the time that you had with him. He
Huh.
values the he values the time that you're spending trying to learn his system. So you actually do get what's useful and what's worth the time that you spent with him.
No, no. That I remember him in an interview saying that if they only came to one class, they should leave with something. God forbid. I remember
Mm.
that's profound. How about you, Kyle Marvin?
He never cared for accolades. He never cared for titles. He doesn't. You meet him, he doesn't care whether you call him Bong, Maestro, Pare, Kuya. He doesn't care about titles. What he cares about is what you learn from him. He takes pride and value in what he teaches, and he takes good care that what he teaches is something practical.
Mm.
The good thing, I've been around martial arts for 20 years now, 20 plus years. And I've met masters who badmouthed other masters while they're teaching. What I
Mm.
teach you is something they don't teach or they don't know. Master Bong would actually say, this master is actually pretty good. What he teaches is good. So he never badmouthed anybody.
Yeah, I don't see that. Yeah, yeah, I think
No,
that's yeah.
never. So he respected all FMA styles, which is a lot, and he respected everybody, and he made sure that you feel welcome. Actually,
Mm.
there's a story that I have back in 2013 when you become when you want to test to become an instructor. The test was a 10-man battle. You're supposed to spar with 10 people in three different categories. And there was one guy who came to the test. He's from a different system. What he wanted to do was he wanted to challenge Master Ball. He wasn't there to participate. He was there to challenge her.
Oh,
And he is a national champion. And Master Ball was very welcoming. He never showed animosity to the guy.
yeah, yeah.
He goes, okay, my guys are gonna have a test. If you want to warm up, go battle them. And he started to join us, and he fought Jong.
He's the
So,
man.
John Rivera.
yep, John Rivera and Graham. So,
Boom, the Elastico. Boom. The guy's got
so
that down like freaking nothing.
yeah. But the thing is, there's no air of ego from Master Ball, which
No,
ki-
yeah,
kind of makes you wanna emulate it. You don't wanna
Yeah.
be, you don't wanna badmouth other people. You wanna treat people with respect.
no, no. I think that was all well put from all of you. Yeah, I think that really encapsulated who he is. You know, again, I hope to meet him one day, but again, everything you guys mentioned is kind of what I saw from afar and what attracted me to to want to be under him. I just saw somebody just so genuine. You know what I mean? Just so genuine. I just want to see. We got Paul here. He says, "Hi, Paul." We got Richard Packman. Hello, Rich. Bernard. Hello, Bernard. Alvin. Hello. Ferd. I'm sorry, but the stream I'm using, Ferd, is Be Live. Ferd. Uh, so okay, next. Uh, it's pretty. I mean, you don't have. You don't need to watch a lot of videos of Abenir Kalis to know that they're hitting each other. I mean, you don't have to go searching. So um, it's known. Okay, so it's pretty known as like a functional system, or they strive for functionality. Um, However, so just give me each of your guys' opinion on that, and we'll go counterclockwise. So Marvin, just on the functional approach, you know, what can you say on that?
Well, the good thing is since AK does rely heavily on sparring, it teaches you how you would react in a stressful situation.
Mm,
It tells you what you know and what you don't know when you're trapped in a corner. So functionality is not just about what technique works. It's also about, okay, what should be my mentality to make my technique work? Because you could have a perfect technique, but if you haven't gone through what we have gone through during training and you're scared to do it because you don't want to get hit, you won't be able to do it.
yeah, that's
So
gonna be my next thing. Stress it,
yeah,
not get.
yeah. So I mean, there is it's kind of hard to explain because until you experience it, until you actually step into training with some of these guys, especially with Kawon and Kajo, I mean, you just have to like do it.
Simple as that.
When you do it, you're gonna know it's functional.
Yeah, yeah,
So you put yourself in a situation where there's danger of getting hit and there's danger of getting hurt. You will learn immediately what works for you.
yeah, yeah. Especially with opposition and somebody resisting you,
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah. How about
like
you?
yeah, like for example, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
butt
no, go
in,
ahead.
but remember your knife defense drills. I
Yeah,
applauded. I mean, I really loved your approach to knife defense, and that's something you develop not from being by playing safe. You develop
yeah, I
your
know. There,
skill. You develop
by
your skill and
failing.
your technique by failing. by actually putting yourself out there. And Master Bong would put himself out there.
Yeah. I mean, basically, before we get to Kavan, willing to embrace failures.
Yes, yeah.
You know. So, how about you, Kavan? The approach to the functional approach.
I am old already, or at least getting old, so I don't have 12 years to go through the theories. But actually, what Sir Bong is emphasizing is learn learn what's effective for you, and then once it's already effective, you can polish it later. You can
Refine it.
make it
Yeah,
beautiful later. So I like it. It drills down to the core of the problem, and you have a solution right away. So that's why I really like it.
no, that was short and sweet. Yeah. How about you, Kajo?
Kind of just to, restating some things we've said before in that, in regards to being functional, and like what Carl Marvin was saying, you just have to experience it and you just have to do it. Like, it's something that sounds so simple, but really that's all there is to it, and I'm brought back to one of my first introductions to AK, and Maestro Bong was like, we have, you're right, there's de campo and de salon, or largo, corto, mano. You hear these ranges, right? And Maestro told me that the essence of AK and of FMA is, he called it laban pandikit. So that literally means it's the fight where you're touching, and Maestro would say that, in regards to whether it's a knife disarm or a return to sender, right? He said at this point you're gonna be feeling your opponent's sweat. You're gonna be able to
Mm,
smell. You're gonna be able to and during these kind of drills, other than brute strength, Maestro will, he'll give you a little love tap on your neck, just to for that shock value, or anywhere, right? Um, it's like Cavon was saying earlier, like developing a heightened awareness, and it also goes back to how we're talking about what kind of a teacher he is, because he can develop that. He's really good at developing that, whether it's a one-on-one session or a group session, and kind of creating that atmosphere, and just redoing it, redo, reflect, and it works.
yeah, no. I'm with you. Like I totally agree. It's just no, you could definitely. I can tell you right now, just from my own experiences, that there's stuff that he's felt that he's changed up and changed, and refined, and reworked, and all that. I mean, I could just you can see it. You know what I mean? Just yeah. Um, one of the next thing I want to touch on before we get into our favorite aspect, each of you is and we'll start. We ended there, so we'll wrap back around with Kajo. To me, I don't want to give it. I want hear from you guys, but the importance of stress in the training, and it goes without saying that there's definitely induced stress in some of the methods in AK.
Mm.
And I just want to hear from you guys so other people can hear it. Why is that important? What are the benefits? Kajo.
uh, I'm sorry, Kadin, just to make sure I'm understanding the question right. You're saying like the importance of that stressful environment.
Having stress introduced into training, like
Mm.
how is that beneficial and important?
I think it's beneficial in that it keeps the martial aspect of the whole martial art thing. A lot of us are brought towards the martial arts for a variety of reasons. Not who of any of the practitioners today of any martial art takes a shield and a sword out to maybe some, right? Not, but I think that's going to the essence and the root of what is it that we love. Whether we love to do the drills or the forms, or or anything. It's keeping it real, right? And it's kind of that humble check, because you can be whatever rank, you can be whatever title, right? But the fact that, especially in FMA, right, it's very blade based, or even if it's blunt, right? It's you were telling, with Cavon, embracing failure. It's like, if your opponent's stick is that failure, like Yeah, it's you better embrace it. It's coming to you, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a I think it's a reality check, you know. Like it keeps you from having a big head, and it helps you develop a working confidence, you know.
No, no, right on. Calvin.
Well, it helps you. For me, it helps you understand the reality that you may get hurt, the reality that you may die. But your chances are increasing because of this training, right? I mean, there's no magic pill or magic training session that will save you, or at least guarantee 100% that you will survive. There's no
Mm,
such thing. So so in AK we have pressure testing. After the techniques, we go through pressure testing exercises,
right,
and
absolutely.
this is where the stress comes from, because when you go into a fight, when you go to the times that you'll actually need to use what you learn, there's adrenaline, there's time, there's pressure.
Mm,
So dealing with adrenaline, your instinct will kick in. Either you fight, or you leave the fight or flight scenario. So getting accustomed to that heightened sense of danger, that adrenaline pumping in you, you have to know how to control that.
yeah,
And
no,
through that pressure testing, through the stress testing that we do in AK, we are able to make it that it feels normal. That when you go into that scenario, you'll see, okay, hey, I've been through this before. I know how to deal with this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a reality aspect of it.
No, that was excellent. Marvin.
Stress in training. That's very important. Why? There's a study done amongst not civilians but among police officers. What happens to how they react under stress? And here's what they found. Under extreme stress, your heart rate goes up. And there's a threshold for heart rate wherein your performance starts to drop.
Mm,
I think the heart rate is somewhere around 120 beats per minute. So that's when fine motor skills goes out the window. So when you spar, when
mm,
you induce stress, when you keep the person afraid, and you raise to that heart level and you power through it and you train through it, your reaction time in a similar situation gets better. And there was another study wherein when people are placed in a situation that's dangerous but they don't know or they don't have any training, people freeze for 8 seconds before they react.
yeah, wow. And that's a think about that. That's a
And think about that.
long time.
In a knife fight,
Eight
8
seconds.
seconds is too long. So you
Yeah.
want to induce stress safely, but
Mm,
real enough where you can get those two conditions wherein am I freezing? Is my is my fine motor skills out the window? Can I think? Can I move? Can I
mm,
react?
yeah. You know, it's funny. I tell my students, I'm like, you have to be able to negotiate stress. Because if you can't negotiate it in the classroom setting, what's going to happen out there? You're going to fall apart mentally. And when you
Yeah,
break down mentally,
yeah.
you're not going to be able to enact physical techniques or
Mm-hmm.
hands on if this starts breaking down.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If this starts going up haywire, you know, the physical stuff that needs to save yourself is going to break apart, fall apart because you're breaking apart up here. So I think the stress inoculators I think are really essential for students if you're giving them stuff that is going to save their lives and there's a pressure testing like Calvin was saying. There has to be, you know, and again, I'm not saying it needs to be like raw off the bat, go,
Yeah.
but there has to be introduction of it and
Mm-hmm.
gradual increments. You raise it and all that, depending
Yeah.
on what's going on. Whether, like,
Yeah.
to me, there's no greater empty hand against knife. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, you know, that to me, I just think, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, that does it. You know, in my opinion. But those were excellent answers. So we're gonna swing back around. Okay, again, this is just opinion, you know, all that, but just so the folks can. So, Kamar, what's your favorite aspect of AK? It could be a weapon, weapon choice. It could be a philosophy, and anything that kind of
No.
stands out.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, what stands out is the weapon aspect. Because I came to AK not knowing any weapons. Being Filipino, back home and being born and raised in the Philippines, we're pretty much the same size. Everybody's pretty much the
Yeah.
same size. Same build. I come to America and I'm standing beside a guy who's 6'3", 220 pounds. I'm like, I can't grapple with this guy. So, and I do jujitsu now, and I would train with guys with blue belts who are like 220 pounds, 6'3", 6'4". I mean,
Ooh,
the matches are short. So,
jeez.
well, but knowing how to use a weapon pretty much equalizes whatever physical advantage another person has.
Mm.
So for me, at least, that's the aspect that appeals to me. Because
Any
like big,
particular weapon?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a
Oh
favorite choice of weapon?
no, no, not really. Anything. What I like about AK and all FMA, not just AK, all FMA. What all FMA will teach you is you can use anything that you can get your hands on.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Doesn't need to be like right.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be a knife or a stick. Anything that's you can put in your hand. It's hard enough to hurt.
yeah, yeah. Kavan. Again, it could be a choice of weapon. It could be an ideology. It could be basically anything that really like is like could be a favorite aspect of what AK represents to you or all that.
What I really like, I guess you guys would know it, is that it is heavily blade based,
Hmm.
meaning that we know that it is not translated from the stick to the blade, but instead it's a blade to the blade. It's a blade itself. That's why it's called
Mm,
Filipino blade art.
Mhm.
Another aspect that I really like about it is that stick fighting is stick fighting.
yeah,
It's not stick bashing. It's not stick hitting. It's fighting using a stick.
yeah,
It's a different approach to translating the blade to the stick, but instead it's a mentality on how you would fight the stick. So it's a very different approach, and that's what I really like about it.
do you have a favorite weapon?
Nope. Whatever is on my hand, whatever is available.
Gotcha. All right, Kajo.
My favorite part of or aspect of AK, I like to say kind of the brotherhood aspect of it and the people it brings on board.
Hmm.
Um, like
Good one.
I got I got my very first entry into martial arts, like even prior to AK or Filipino martial arts was Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, and I learned a lot from that. But for me, was there for me at a time where I found a family, and so bouncing around kind of different groups in FMA, you call people brother, like, hey brother, this, and but I'm very proud of the brothers I have gained in AK and grown with and learned from. In that you got guys like Ka Jong Rivero who trained with Tatang, and even you know, and that guy's a beast, and you got guys or Maestro himself with a varied background, or even Kavon, Marvin, even you Kadeen, like you guys. For me, it's like you guys, we have AK to gather on, and it's like an entry point. But you guys, for me, it's a wealth of knowledge, and I like the fact that although we kind of are developing a rank structure, things like that. Look what we call each other, right? Ka, as in
Yeah,
as in like kapatid, like
Mm.
it's not any kind of like
yeah.
I don't feel like I'm in the military again, and there's an enlisted and officer structure, and like
Mm,
so I enjoy kind of how we operate as a brotherhood or as a system, and it's not so stuck to this belt or title system.
Mm.
yeah, I tell you what, really, a couple things that really I attracted to from coming from different systems like Atenza, Sayana, and the Silent Blend, just a few, but what really was that the close knit, like no matter where you are and what country, there, even though maybe you haven't met the person, there's still like a bond, nothing but pleasantries, good things to say to each other, like Cod Neal in Sweden, Cod Bradley in Australia, Cod
Mm.
Norman. Who was there? Hey, Cod Norman. Um, he said hello, brothers. Uh, but just
That's another beast right there too, man.
Yeah.
Cod Norman. But just like like that, just that tight knit, when somebody achieves something, it was accolades, from everybody, no power struggle. Like I've been in systems where I'm telling you, I've seen it, where like you'll have practitioners that maybe been in, like they're trying to be the next whoever in the system, and actually to a point of like behavior or like their personality traits. It's just bizarre, but we're like, I don't see any of that in this system. Zero. And I'm telling you, it's such a breath of fresh air because it's not like that. And generally speaking, it's not. Like this is very rare. I'm just telling you from the systems I've been in there where this is, and I have to say, it probably is funneled down from Maestro, the way he is. I think if he's anything different, we probably would have maybe a different feel among each other or different attitudes and all that. But this is a very, very close knit group, and it's so refreshing. Like I don't, there's nobody that like, for that one person, but they're uh, they're gone. But it's a very close knit group, and it's just not like that. I'm telling you, like this is very, very special. What's here, I've seen the other side, and it's not fun. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Dealing with egomaniacs, or they're trying to be the next, Tuhan or whatever the heck, and it's just so yeah, this is a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
really
thank you.
truly is.
Thank you.
Um, Again, I think that's attributed to Maestro.
Yeah.
The way he conducts himself and holds himself, and the way he acts, I think it's just a snowball effect onto everybody. You know what I
True.
mean? I
True.
just think like you know, yeah, like you wouldn't dare like behave like that because like you know what I mean? Because and one, I think you're held accountable. You know what I mean? You can't just go out there, just acting like a fool or saying negative things, or just not
Mm.
being a good representative. Like I think there's accountability where some of these systems, I think they get so big. I think there's no policing. There's no accountability. They're just able to say what they want and do what they want. And I don't know. I think that's a big part of it. And
Mm.
that's just my take on it. Um, so we're going over, but this is fantastic. Just future. I know, and we're in the current situation here. God knows when it's going to end. But
Mm.
let's start with you, Kajo. What future plans when this ends?
As
Far as
far as
AK
like,
is concerned,
say again. I'm sorry.
far as AK is concerned,
I mean, my I feel like ongoing thing, that I'm trying to do it in AK is just kind of, share what I know and literally lock up with people. Every
mm,
time me and Kavon, even when we first met each other, it was, hey, what's up, man? All right, you know,
Here's the
you
yeah,
want
yeah,
you want
here's
the
my
you
thing.
want the red stick or the blue one? You want the long one or the short one?
yeah.
But um, I just kind of want to share all that we've been talking about. And to be honest, sometimes it's quite hard or maybe not as big of the effect or, result as you want, just because, all those things we're talking about, whether it's accolades or drills or whatever, very few people, I think, are looking for kind of what we're about.
No,
So,
I can tell you right now, the majority's not.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
I mean, as
unfortunately.
always, as a FMA practitioner, I'm always happy and proud to share what I've learned. And if there's anyone out there that's trying to lock up, man, let's do it.
Yeah, I know. But you touched on something really that's significant in this community. And unfortunately, the community is the bigger systems and all that. The majority of people tend to go with the bigger, a lot of the systems that are not so heavily sparring based or functional based. not there's anything wrong with that. I mean, your journey is
Hmm.
your journey. You know what I mean? You have to do what you enjoy and what have you. Um, but we're definitely on a smaller scale. I think. Kaban, how about you? What are your plans?
My plan when this is all over is to see Kajo.
There you
4 hours away, or not even
4 hours away.
4 hours.
Either Kajo would drive here or I'll drive there.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And
Yeah,
then
I definitely.
also going back to training with a lot of my students. So mainly Ka Gabriel, Ka Ronnie as well. So looking forward to have our training sessions back with them.
So now, who are these the people that you're referring to? Are they also AK students or are they Yon? Or is it?
They are also AK students. So Ka Gabriel Rodriguez and also Ka Ronnie.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Um, Marvin, I know you're on the BJJ kick there. What's
Uh, Actually, my professor actually was interested in AK. Because when I first started in their gym, he told me, "Do you have a background?" I told him what my background was. And when
hmm,
I mentioned FMA, he goes, "Really?" And he was actually interested. And we got to like exchange a few moves a little bit. And I showed him, especially with our FMA and FMA, our field is in blades, and he was really
yeah,
interested. He was really interested in knife defense because he felt like it's an area that
yeah,
they haven't really touched upon.
yeah.
And
Especially the
I,
ground, man.
yeah,
I tell you, you're grappling, you're pulling somebody guard, and man,
yeah.
you don't do it, and you don't have knife, for
Mm,
the ground.
yeah. So he expressed interest. We don't know after when all of this boils over. Maybe it can be a start of something. But we were supposed to be in California last April.
Oh man.
So I was looking forward to see these two guys.
No, I know
but
that's one thing I
it
want
was
to get to here is that I mean, we lovely for us. We were talking about some time ago was making a compilation of sorts,
mm,
among us, like what AK in America is about and all that. But obviously,
yeah.
no, it'd be fantastic for the four of us, to get together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely due to see you soon. Um, to get any material that maybe I haven't gotten. So that's definitely in the well again when this ends, which I don't know. I think realistically, I don't know, midsummer. I don't know. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounding like.
you know what I mean? I mean, to what's really, yeah, I don't know. Like I keep hearing, we're gonna keep hearing different things, of course, but I think realistically, I don't know. I think it's midsummer.
Mm,
Unfortunately, before
yeah.
like where you can actually be out and what have you, and I guess, but I mean, so I guess we'll have to see, but. Um, okay, well, I mean, that's all. I mean, that was fantastic. I think that was great. I think you all did fantastic. And it's up to you guys. Anybody got demos planned? If not, no biggie.
I think we
Anybody?
might gotta do a part two for that one.
I mean, yeah, we can't. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. But
Viewers have to stay tuned.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, coming up. No, we definitely. Matter of fact, my second part is going to be. Oh, it have to be part three. Actually, is I'm going to get the students from Connecticut, John, Sean, Little
Mm.
Sean, and
Mm,
that, and have them give their take on what they think about uh, particularly Phil and Sean. I mean, John, obviously, John Kelly is you know like us, Cod John. So, but that'll be kind of neat, just from Connecticut, what they feel and all that. Some of them have done our system, so they can actually give some compare and contrast.
Hmm.
You But this is great. I thank all of you so much for jumping on.
thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, Kajo. Any closing statements?
Hey, if you're on the West Coast, Las Vegas, California, maybe even Hawaii, and you're trying to, you know, learn something new or be exposed to AK, reach out to, reach out to us. You know.
Absolutely, sure. Yeah, Kavan.
So we just look up AKS Global. We have all our group in there. It also has all our list of members around the world. So if you would
Oh, I'm
want
glad you brought
to
that up. It's,
look up the instructors near your area or near your country, you
Hmm.
can find everybody there.
is it the blog? That's the blog spot, right? Am I correct?
I think so. Yeah.
It's Maestro's blog spot. I think we've got everybody listed. I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
I would think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh, yes, that's um, yeah, that's in the comments before I go, I'll definitely put I'll make a mention of that. But Maestro's got everybody listed there as far as the the blog spot there. Okay, just so people can see if they want to know, they can see what have you. John here. Hey, John. Yes, the Connecticut crew next week. Compilation. Do it. Yes, for.
Nice. Nice.
Um, yeah, we can do a part three where we can make it less talk, more. That might be a good idea. Actually, show people like, what it's about. Actually, that would make a good part three. Actually,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be working that. Actually, that will be that'll give me something to work on. How we each of us could show something.
No, that'll be good.
Start thinking about that. Like think of that because I don't personally I don't care, but start thinking about like what you guys would like to show, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm thinking
Hmm.
probably realistically early June we could do that. So if there's something you particularly like to do, that just message me. But there. Oh, Michael Cruz, right? He put it. Yeah, Abenir Kalis blogspot.com. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kali.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, good. That saves me to do it.
And we'll share it on our post as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Hmm.
everybody can see it.
And Scott Marvin, any closing thoughts?
Uh, be safe, everybody. This is all. Let's be safe.
You
I mean,
know,
I really hope all of this
whoever
stuff
thought we'd be in this,
ends.
huh?
Everybody can go back to training.
Yeah, whoever thought? You know what I mean? If like you told me last fall we would not be able to train, have to wear a mask. I mean,
Hmm.
what if, yeah, but my closing thoughts, I'm just it was an honor to share this platform with you guys. I just I want
Thank you
thank
for
you.
having us, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, this is wonderful getting all fun, and I think that's gonna be fun, man. Part three, let's each one of us doing something. Yeah, so seriously, everybody think of like what you would like to do. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
we can get wherever you perform, then we can give like a little verbal explanation to it, just where people viewing they actually can see them. I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do here is what I always do is after I'm done, I basically download this, put it off to YouTube. And when that is done, it doesn't take me that long. I usually always get it done the same night. What I'll do is I'll send a link to each of your guys' page. Kyle Vaughn, I'll have to message it to you though. And then
Okay.
Makajo and Kyle Marvin, I'll definitely put it on your wall.
Thank you.
For sure.
No, thank you guys. And yeah, again, be safe, because I'll be in touch for episode 3.
All right.
All right, guys, be good. Thank you
Thank
again.
you. Be safe,
Bye,
guys. Be
guys.
safe.
Uh,
Be safe.
take
Goodbye.
care. All right, that wraps up AKUSA Part 1. Next Tuesday will be Part 2, where I'm going to just kind of feature on Connecticut. And then looks like Part 3, which I didn't think was going to happen, but Part 3 will be the get some demos and from the guys that we just had on. That'll be kind of neat. So next Tuesday at 7, AK Part 2 featuring Connecticut. Thank you. If you've not please don't forget to hit like, and if you've not subscribed to FMA discussion on the YouTube. Thank you, and I'll see you all next week.